Coming up today on shielding your retirement, maybe one of the biggest but least understood risks to your retirement comes from policymakers in Washington and Lansing. Today, we'll identify some of these legislative risks and strategies to help you preserve your savings. Plus, you'll walk away from today's show with actionable steps you can take today to start making a difference for your financial future. Shielding your retirement starts right now.
Retirement is more than a destination. It's a journey that starts with a dream, a vision for the way you want to live, recharge, and give back. To get there, you need a plan to reach your retirement goals. William Thatcher of Thatcher Wealth Management has the strategies you need to plan for income, taxes, healthcare, and more. For years, William Thatcher has been helping families plan for a successful retirement. Welcome to Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kelly Dame here with William Thatcher of Thatcher Wealth Management, serving families right here in West Michigan. Legislative risk is one of the biggest but least understood risks to your retirement. But after today's show, you'll have a better handle on what this risk means to your retirement and what you can do about it. William, so great to join you here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm excited.
We're talking about a complex issue, right, of legislative risk. And the big idea here is ways that you can prevent legislative risk from totally undermining your retirement. So let's start there. Spell this out for us.
Absolutely. The big idea today is all about how the impact policymakers can not just impact your family, but your community as well. So it's really on the national level, but also at the local, state, and of course, right here in West Michigan, and then how that impacts your family. So, it's defined that the risk that the government will essentially change the rules on you, and therefore leaving you with less money than you planned on. There's a lot of different ways to approach this on the micro level as well as on the macro level, and excited to get into both those today.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that they can just change things on you. And it's so fun for all of us, right? At the turn of a dime, you're like, well, It's been like this for so long. Now all of a sudden I have to completely rethink it. So we've seen it before, of course, where Congress or the IRS, they make that change in the tax code and then leaves it to the everyday taxpayer to just try to figure it out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the most recent changes were with the Secure Act. So, you can think of this, type of action as the micro impact. That's Secure Act 2.0, or it changes rules around retirement, really massive changes. So one of those was how it changed the required minimum distribution age. And it used to be 70 and a half, and then it was 72, and now it's somewhere between 73 and 75. And these moving targets are not a lot of fun, actually. But you really want to make sure that you have those numbers tied in. And by the way, required minimum distribution, what that essentially is when the federal government forces you to take out your own money, right? And so maybe you've done what you're supposed to do, right? Set a little aside, let it build up for years and years, and then they say, well, it's been now long enough where you have to start taking out that money. And by the way, it's according to whatever their tax code is at that time. Something else that the Secure Act changes was when you leave an inheritance, when you maybe pass down some of those, maybe it's an IRA, and that might be like an old 401k that someone has. Well, it shortened the timeline on when folks have to take that money out. And probably most folks listening to this know that it's really helpful to have money that's invested over a longer period of time, right? And when you shorten that, it forces to pay generally higher taxes, leaving with families with less money. And every time that there's an election, a change of makeup to Congress every 18 months or 2 years, whatever those things are, it can shake up these rules. And we want to make sure that we stay on top of that, not just for the next tax year, but also for someone's long-term retirement understanding as well.
It really keeps things from getting boring.
Yeah,
for you, right?
Exactly, right? Keeps things interesting.
Keeps it fresh, always.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned earlier at the top of the show, macro, micro. I want to dig in first to some of those more macro legislative risks, those things that have like that broader impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about, a macro example where, again, micro is more, how does that impact directly the distributions of your monies, right? Your retired minimum distributions or your legacy that you're passing on, where macro has to do with broader legislative changes, and that might be in the form of tariffs, right, one way or another. It might be in government spending. It might be in taxation, right, at broader levels. And how does that impact the economy at large, right, or even inflation, right? How far does your dollar go? And so those are some of those macro changes. Government spending be at higher levels for longer. We're on track that we're going to pay over $1 trillion on just interest payments, right? If you thought your credit card bill was bad, and I'm sure you're in great shape personally, but yeah, but if you thought that was bad, well, think about the interest payments for a bill just being over $1 trillion, right? And how do you make that make sense when that's a quarter of all the money that's being brought in by the federal government? So there's some massive macro changes that are happening right now, and it's, I would say, more important than ever for families to be prepared for that.
How do you stay on top of all of this stuff as a professional, right? Because I'm just in awe of hearing you talk about all of this stuff that us may likely have no idea. How do you stay on top of it? Yeah,
it's a great question. So the truth is, I have to always have my ear to the ground, right? But it's not just listening to every single source. It's understanding what are the central and truest sources to listen to. So when a new bill becomes proposed or a president's budget proposal, they'll release something called the facts sheet. And that's where they take those 1,000-page bill proposals and they shorten them down to really summarize it with 6 to 8 pages or so. And so I'm one of those nerds that goes and reads all of those, but then it's really just a plethora of different sources that I'll read, whether it's different economists, leading economists, or professors, CIOs at large institutions like JP Morgan or Fidelity, right?
Sure.
They release their information out, but it's certainly not a Facebook link that I'm tapping into. I only have so much time in the day, and I want to make sure that the families that we are honored to serve and care for every day have the best information and their funds are being protected.
That ear to the ground. And it's nice that you're doing the work, because especially when you think about all of these changes, there are strategies, and that is where we're going to head next. So coming up, the strategies that actually can help you reduce the impact of legislative changes on your retirement. And later, William is in the hot seat for Retirement IQ. Stay tuned.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Welcome back to Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher.
I'm here with William Thatcher, founder of Thatcher Wealth Management. And William, today we are helping our viewers understand the potential impact of changes in legislation and public policy on our retirements. So what are some ways that we can kind of take some of that control back?
The first thing I'd say is having a plan is important. You see, while we can't change very much at the national level, we can affect how those things really affect our lives by having a really good plan in place, seeing what obstacles are ahead of us, and then navigating that every step of the way.
We know changes are coming, right? So just knowing that and preparing, I think that plan that you mentioned is obviously huge. So many of the changes that we've talked about today, they involve government spending and taxation. Do we really, on taxes, have any control over what we owe in retirement? Because that could be a big bill.
Absolutely. And the truth is, it's likely, yes, you do have options. And that really, while we're in our working years, well, we have to pay income taxes, right? And there's only so much control over that, and whether that's at the state or the federal level. But when it comes to retirement, you can really start to affect and diversify your tax buckets. So over the income and over those years, even Social Security, for instance, has a reduced tax code associated with it. How is that being a part of your plan? I have my National Social Security Advisor designation. Our other lead advisor has his RSSA as well. And we're the only office in the whole state that has both of those. And that's because we really decided that, while Social Security isn't exactly the most glamorous part of retirement, it is one of the most common and one of the most impactful, particularly when it comes to tax efficient planning.
That's a huge designation to have for both, because as I alluded to before, again, could be a huge thing to be thinking about that ultimately can affect how your retirement goes. I know we have in our mind, I'm going to have this wonderful, easy, free retirement. Life's going to be great. Well, you got to plan a little bit for it. We talked about that strategy, right? So the income strategy and how it can potentially help us reduce taxes. Let's talk more about what goes into that. And I will add to, William, if you're at home thinking, oh gosh, I don't have a strategy or a plan. That's why we're talking about this today, to come in, have that conversation. But let's dive in a little bit more about what that strategy can actually do when it comes to taxes.
Right. And when we approach that question with families, where we start that conversation is understanding your different sources of income in retirement. So for some families, they might have real estate exposure. Other families, they might have really hefty 401ks or IRAs. There might be inheritances along the way. They might sell their home and downsize. All of these things, and really that base level of Social Security, and it could be a pension as well for families. There's a lot of different rules for every single one of those things that's going to impact, at the end of the day, how much they have, right? Because it's not about how much you make, but how much you keep. And people understand this, right, in their working years, and they think, just like you alluded to, all that's just going to go away, right? Things are going to simplify. And the truth is that's not always the case. So first, understand what different sources of income you have. How do you collaborate those better to really navigate those different things? Also understand when your required minimum distributions begin, right, and planning around that. I often say to families, the truth is the IRS is playing chess. And if you don't know that you're playing chess with your taxes, you're already losing, right? So all of these things are incredibly important. And then we, again, of course, add in the layer of understanding what the federal government is doing, what the local state is doing as well, so that we can really have control through our years in retirement.
You talked about a lot of different variables, right, that people may have in their retirement plan, 401ks, you name it. And I think it just talks to the importance of customization to each plan. I'm willing to bet, I'm not a betting woman, but I'm willing to bet that you have never seen the same retirement twice, right? You've done this a while.
Yeah, I've been making financial plans for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And we believe that part of the reason why I started my own independent practice is that for every single person, we could make a financial plan that is unique to them as their fingerprint, right? And that just means it's going to change, whether it's Roth conversions or diversifying, or taxable incomes, leveraging life insurance and getting tax-free income from that. It's really going to affect depending on where the family is at and what their goals are and desired outcomes for the future.
So what does that look like when people come into your office and they say, okay, I'm ready for a plan for me. I don't want a cookie cutter plan, and I'm ready. How is that process?
Yeah, for us, we're relationship first, right? So for us, it really matters just to get to know the family. So we sit down over a cup of coffee. Folks will often see me with coffee, and just to get to know them, whether it's coffee or hot tea, or maybe we might even have some warm cookies, and really just to sit down across them and get to know their family, right? What's their goals? Where are they at? What's on their heart? And once we understand those things, we do some investigation, right? Maybe discover some pieces for them, and then we'll give them a high-level understanding. If we can help them and they want our help, what would that look like, right? What kind of tangible, by-the-numbers differences that we could make for them? And if all those things line up, then we'll start working together and actually implement that change. And the truth is, we believe that while we can't help everyone, we want to help anyone that comes to our doors, and it just starts with a conversation.
It's nice too to come in and know it's going to be a judgment-free zone, right? You don't have to worry too much about what you may be bringing into the conversation, because it's all about putting that plan forward for the future. So important insights for us and for the viewers at home. Thank you, William. Straight ahead, William is in the hot seat, one of my favorites, for the Retirement IQ. And later, what are some simple, actionable steps that you can take to help improve your financial future today? William has your checklist challenge. Stay with us.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom is just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wander later. Call for your free analysis today.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Welcome back to Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher.
It is now time to put our knowledge to the test. Okay, this is not our knowledge. This is your knowledge. I'm not in the hot seat. You are with this week's Retirement IQ. So, William, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay. I also should sidebar that I have always wanted to be on a game show or a game show host.
This
So
is
this
it.
is my moment.
Yeah.
I also am ready and born for this, but I think I get the better side of it here. So question number 1, as we of course have talked a lot about policy changes and legislation, so that is going to be the theme of our questions today. So number 1, 9 states in the U.S. do not have an income tax for individuals.
Yeah.
Name one of them.
Florida. I'm going to go a couple more. Texas, the great state of Alaska.
Okay.
And I do have several, families that are in different states, and including some of those. So those were some of the easy ones for me.
It's nice to live in those states. Well, you got extra credit for sure. So we've got Alaska, Florida, Nevada, New Hampshire, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Washington, and Wyoming.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need like some sound effects or like a big
Right.
hurrah. Good work.
Especially a lot of those are cowboy type of states. Maybe
I don't know what the correlation is
maybe
there.
a top hat. I don't know. I think something like freedom, right?
Yeah.
Independence. I lived a little bit in Wyoming when I worked in the natural gas side of things in the oil field, and so very much survive or die based upon your actions. And I think that carries over to taxes.
At least you had a little bit more money in your pocket when it comes to the income tax.
That's
so
a very good
there you
point.
go. Well, question 2, one of the biggest overhauls to our retirement system in recent years was the Secure Act. What does Secure stand for?
Yeah, so that's very little known. So it's the setting every community up for retirement enhancement. Very, very interesting acronym there, but going with security, it makes sense.
That's all you need to know, though, is
That's
the
it.
Secure.
Yeah.
You're going to forget everything else here and what it stands for, just Secure. But I'm impressed. Okay, you're breezing through these. Trivia question number 3: what is the current full retirement age in the U.S.?
Yeah, so when I give lectures on seminars, lectures on Social Security, and particularly that can be in local colleges, often in the area for us, 2-hour lecture just in Social Security alone. And what I say to folks is that for everyone sitting down with us, it's everywhere between 66 and 67 years old. That's your full retirement age. And for everyone listening to this, if you want to get a specific answer on that, you can check Social Security's website, ssa.gov, or if you're still receiving those Social Security statements in the mail, it'll also say your full retirement age is this, that month and date. And of course, if you want to talk to us directly, we can help connect you that answer as well.
It depends again on like what year you were born.
Exactly.
But it just goes to talk about what we've been mentioning all throughout this entire show is that things are changing.
Yeah.
And so you have to be prepared and you have to have a plan because we know things are going to change.
Yeah, undoubtedly, right? And every time you want to end up somewhere, right, how you get there matters, right? For when we talk about, and I'm sure we'll talk about income planning at some point in the journey, but with Social Security, you want to make sure that as it's really the foundation for your overall retirement income plan, understanding what your full retirement age is so important because everything else is based upon that.
Yeah, you definitely got to know that number, if nothing else. All right, question number 4, speaking of another number, what year was the Roth IRA introduced?
Great question. So this is late 90s, and particularly 1997. That's when they created it. And the truth is, even the rules around Roth have swung back and forth. And for a lot of families that we talk to, they say they didn't even know it existed for a long time. And by the time they did know it exist, it wasn't that interesting or that helpful. We really have some really specific criteria right now for while the tax code is as it is right now, for us to take advantage of those Roth accounts. Hopefully everyone listening to this is sort of on top of that or already has a sophisticated tax code in place, but oftentimes that's not something that's on anyone's radar. We really want to help change that for families.
Well, perfect. According to my notes, 4 for 4. That's pretty impressive, right?
And thankfully,
so you did it.
You did it. This was the talk show. You nailed it.
I'm expecting a call any moment from an agent to get a full gig. So still to come, you'll learn some of the simple steps that you can take today to potentially help you improve your situation. Because how useful is knowledge without action? Stay tuned.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
Thank you for joining us today on Shielding Your Retirement with William Thatcher. And when you think about legislative risk and how it can impact futures in retirement, we had a lot of fun talking about it today. We probably could have filled an entire new show all about it. So I know the saying goes, knowledge is power. And I think that hopefully you feel like you're walking away with some power and some knowledge after today's show.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting, there was another kind of tangential quote by Dale Carnegie. He said, knowledge is only power when it is applied. So and I often say to folks when I'm teaching, hey, I want to empower each of you, but the truth is it doesn't matter unless you actually put it into place. So a few things to keep in mind to put these things into place is, number one, determine what your full retirement age is, to check on that Social Security, right? To understand where that's at. And for folks listening to this, you can check your Social Security at ssa.gov. So that can help you understand at least what options you have from Social Security for at least just yourself. And the second thing is to do an inventory of what all your pre-tax accounts are. So it'd be like 401ks, 403bs, etc. And that's going to help you understand how much of your money hasn't actually been taxed yet, which makes the federal government and all of Congress really excited because they won a piece of that. And the third thing is to understand when your required minimum distributions start. Once you start to have those few pieces, you have really the baseline understanding of how do you construct an overall strategy to avoid taxes as much as possible.
So of course, we talk about how important it is to get that customized look. If you maybe forgot your pen and paper, you're like scrambling through the junk drawer trying to find it and get those 3 tips down, people can always connect with you, ask you questions. You're here. This is your job.
Absolutely. And for us, we use the Armor Guard Retirement Roadmap, which just equips our team, and we really do everything as a team approach to make sure that we are getting, for all the families that we serve, our goal is to get them to the 0% tax bracket or as legally as close as they can get as quickly as possible. So that's our tools, that's our system to create those tax efficient strategies.
Sounds like a great plan to me. Well, the retirement landscape is constantly changing, as we've learned, and William and his team are here to stay on top of all of the latest changes so you can spend your time doing what you love with the people who matter most to you. For William and the team at Thatcher Wealth Management, I'm Kelly Dame. Have a great week, and we will see you next time.